There's a lot of words that can be used to describe this article, and I'm gonna try and say all of them. I am truly disgusted, I would say, by this Kotaku article. Now I know it's been making the news. I tweeted this actually. Actually, I think Degenerate J tweeted it first. I tweeted. By the way, podcast now 15 on Twitter. If you guys haven't already followed me, all that stuff in the description. I tweeted this. There's actually a person that defended the writer for this article, and I tweeted back at them talking about how much of a bad idea it was. I'm pretty sure she blocked me. That's okay. That's actually probably the first time I've ever been blocked by anybody on Twitter. I'm sure it'll happen more often. And it is a situation where we need to stand up and talk about this more or less. You know, Kotaku has been a website that, look, in the beginning, years and years ago, I actually really like Kotaku. I always thought Kotaku was the best source. They always seem to have leaks. They always seem to have rumors. They always seem to have stories that IGN, which is the one that I kind of went to all the time. I listen to podcasts beyond all that stuff. Back then, that was like 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and IGN would report on those stories like 2-3 days after Kotaku. So I always assumed Kotaku was like the place to go. Now, as I have gotten older, I've realized it's the garbage chute of pretty much everything. And am I saying that everybody that works there is garbage? No, actually, I do think there's even people from Kotaku that have tweeted to me or liked something in my. So I think that there are good people there, but this shows, I think, another example of a disconnect between gaming journalists and the people that they pretend to represent. You know, we can get political, and we're not going to, but you can talk politics and talk about, okay, if you're elected, whoever is representing you, whether it be the president or your congressman or your senator, your governor, right? All these people, do they actually represent you? When they get into a position of power, do they actually do what they said they were going to do? Do they represent what you thought, they did when you were voting for them, right? It's the same kind of thing with here. I mean, obviously slightly different, but gaming journalists are journalists. They write these stories, they review these products for us, the gamers. So when I am reading a PS5 review from Kotaku, and it's a review of the console, I'm expecting them to talk about the console in a well thought out way, in a way that it can relate to me because I'm a gamer. I'm getting the PS5. Am I going to get my money's worth out of it? What about the loading times? What about the SSD? What about the anything about the PS5, right? And I guess what I'll say so that nobody attacks me, although I think people are going to generally be on my side, most of this review was on the console, okay? Fine. Now, I didn't read it because why would I do that? I didn't read it, but at the very end, I do want to... I'm going to maybe skip some words if things get bad here, but let me read this out to you. I'm going to show the picture as well. But does it really matter? Now, this is what was tweeted. This is what I think a couple people even online on YouTube, right? Charlie, his YouTube channel, I think he did one as well. Does it really matter? This review has spent 3,000 words talking about the PS5, which is the most I've ever written about anything. Here's the but. It is a good video game console as there has ever been. Combination of ultra-high definition video, increased frame rates, high-end graphic techniques like ray tracing, and the lightning-fast SSD make it feel like the real deal next-gen successor to the PS4. And if you're not ready to give up the previous console, the PS5 reliably runs a vast majority of the PS4 library, with many of those games receiving upgrades to fidelity, frame rate, and loading time. But I'd be remiss to ignore all the reasons not to be excited about the PS5, because this is exactly why we came to Kotaku for this. The world is still reeling under the weight of blank. There are more Americans out of work right now than any other point in the country's history, with no relief in sight. Not true. Our healthcare system is an inherently evil institution that forces people to ration life-saving medications like insulin and choose blank over suffering with untreated mental illness. Also not true. As I'm writing this, it looks very likely that Joe Biden will be our next president. Well, I'm not going to say anything, but it's clear that the worst people aren't going away just because a new old white man is sitting behind the Resolute desk. Well, at least not this old white man. Our government is fundamentally broken in a way that necessitates radical change rather than incremental electoralism. The harsh truth is that for the reason listed above and more, a lot of people simply won't be able to buy a PS5. Yeah, because of those, I only read some of this. This actually is making my blood boil. Because of this, a lot of people simply won't be able to buy a PS5, regardless of supply. Or if they can, concerns over increasing austerity in the United States and the growing threat of widespread political violence supersede any enthusiasm about the console's SSD or how ray tracing makes reflections more realistic. That's not to say you can't be excited for those things. I certainly am on some level, but there's an irrefutable level of privilege. This is just the best. There's an irrefutable level of privilege attached to the ability to simply tune out the world as it burns around you. I won't deny that video games can't be escape. It feels great to lose yourself in that. Some of us see strength or personality trait in video game characters as much as it sucks for real-world problems to intrude on that space. I found it increasingly difficult to focus on video games amid our current situation. This person probably cries in their bathroom daily. Many nights, it's all I can do to play a couple of this is exactly what it is. Splunky before collapsing to bed for a few hours of doom scrolling and relentless sleep. And I know I'm not alone in that feeling. We are collectively tired for a good reason. So basically they're saying that this is a terrible time to release the console, that you are privileged if you're able to get it. Now, all right, so you've heard my opening. You've heard this. If you don't want to hear my hot takes, if you don't want to hear my opinion, because you may feel like it may ruin your opinion of me, I understand that. I have nothing against you. Leave now. But I'm about to rip this person a new one. What a garbage take. Firstly, a lot of the things they said are not even true. Now, I'm not going to get super political with anybody, right? We're not going to go into that way. But actually, things like insulin, the prices have that is just a statistical fact. At least in the U.S., insulin and other prescription drugs have been slashed by like 60, 70, 80%. In fact, my wife is an example of that. So I don't want to hear that. That's just not true whatsoever. The other stuff, I mean, I guess you could break it down, and some people may have differences of opinions, but the insulin thing, I don't even know why they mentioned that. Stupid. That literally has been factually dropped in price. So that person's just an idiot. Secondly, what do you mean we're privileged? See, I hate that. I really do. Like when I'm on Twitter and I'm saying, hey, I'm getting the PS5, there have been people, I think sometimes jokingly, maybe there's been people that haven't been, that are genuinely disappointed that, like, I'm getting it, that they're not, or they think I'm going to get all of these games. They're like, oh, I've seen this. Oh my God, you have so much money. Firstly, no, I do not. I really don't have a lot of money. I wish I had a lot of money. If I did have a lot of money, I guess I would tell you guys if I had a lot of money, but I don't, okay? So I've always just never taken that as true. But privilege, I don't even know what rabbit hole I want to go down with privilege, but if you're going to get the console, you're going to get the console. Don't let this idiot be the one to, and I don't think anybody's going to Kotaku and saying, oh, wow, this person said that I'm a privileged person if I'm going to get the console. When will they learn? That's pretty much the biggest thing. That's where I really want to drive home with you guys. When I talk about gaming journalism being dead, and I'm not saying specifically me being a replacement, but YouTube being a replacement for gaming journalists, and they hate that. If you guys didn't know, insider tip, they hate that. They hate the fact that YouTube, you look at Jason Schreier as a really good example, right? He's talked about it numerous times on interviews, how he looks down to the YouTube community because people like me, I can put all this stuff into a video, I can quote-unquote pad it, even though I don't, I can make money out of it, and then they're over there, oh, and we're taking it from them, but they're over there, getting to the hard facts of the internet. I mean, all right, he's getting paid, I believe he said he's getting paid $100,000 plus a year to work at his job. So that's a ridiculous amount of money to write for video games, firstly. Secondly, to write like an article a week about like an Assassin's Creed leak or whatever, right? So those kind of things upset me already. But same thing with like this Kotaku person. Like, who are they to tell me that I'm privileged? What they're basically telling you is that if you are, this is the summation. If you are sane, if you are able to keep the quote-unquote burning world around you, or whatever the heck that person said, if you're able to keep that outside of your personal life, you must not even be real. How could you even be doing that, right? It's impossible. And that's the biggest thing. That's the thing that these lunatics, no matter who you stand for president, because I've stood by this for years and years and years, if you can't separate those two, you need help. Factually, you need help. You shouldn't be screaming in the streets. You now, okay, raising your voice, standing up for what you believe in, right? Having a purpose, that's different. Everybody is entitled to doing that. That's under the Constitution. That's everybody's right as an American, or really as just a person, right? If you're not in the United States and you're listening to this, it's your right to have your own beliefs and to stand up for them. Nobody should tell you otherwise. Now, there's right ways of doing it. There's wrong ways of doing it, right? Like, there's illegal ways, I should say, right? But if you're the ones, the memes of when Trump got elected and that person, like, screaming in the street, if you're that person, or if you are like this person, you cry, like, in your bedroom every night, or you just scroll on Twitter and you think the world's ending daily, you need help. You need professional, and that's not I don't think that's a hot take whatsoever. Now, I know those people do exist, and that's the sad thing is, this person said, like, I know I'm not alone. Yeah, sadly, you're not. Sadly, there are other people that think like you, and that's why the world is so messed up. But don't let them tell you. Those lunatics, the ones that cry daily, the ones that don't have any idea what's going on, the ones that believe, firstly, anything that they hear, that's the starting, then run with it, and then again think the world is burning down. Don't let them tell you, and especially in the gaming industry, who are you? Again, this goes down to like the Hollywood stuff, which, as I've always said, when people say, okay, the Hollywood people are like sports people, stick to sports, stick to acting, I've never fully agreed with that because everybody has their own take, and that's literally what makes us humans. I have my own takes, but you could say, well, Alex, you're just a YouTube personality, or you just talk about gaming and movies. You can't talk about politics. Well, I can, but the thing that I do agree with is you have every reason to not listen to me. In fact, I don't think you should. You know what I mean? Nobody needs to listen to anybody, especially when you are people that aren't even in that craft. Although I would argue people in the political craft are also not good people to listen to either, right? So it goes down kind of to that. A gaming journalist person, when I go to see this review on PS5, I don't want to hear about the world burning around me and that I am privileged, even though the PS5 is amazing, which they literally said in their own words. Even though the PS5 is amazing, even though there's all these reasons to get it, I would be privileged because for some, I must have like the power of God. I must be like an angel, basically, because I'm able to separate politics, which is really just one person, if we're all being honest with each other, right? They have a certain, symptom of derangement, right? We won't talk about that. It's really separating that from everything else. And I'm able to do that. Not many people are, I guess, or at least people that maybe watched or read that article from Kotaku, they're not capable of doing it. And that's the world. That's the world, that we are privileged if we're able to separate it, which is just, who are they to tell us? And secondly, why is it so, like, unheard of that we're able to do that? I know loads of people. I guarantee you the vast majority of people that play games are able to not think. When I'm playing Among Us with my friends, am I thinking, oh, I wonder if there's going to be a riot tomorrow? I'm not thinking that. I'm playing a game. When I'm playing the PS5, when I'm doing Miles, when I'm making these videos, when I'm going to live stream Miles, do you think I'm going to be thinking about politics when that's happening? Do you think I'm going to be so privileged, or think I'm so privileged because I'm able to say, well, the world's burning, but I'm going to focus on this? Well, firstly, that's just a matter of opinion. That's what they never understand, is that no, factually, the world is destroyed, and it'll never go back to normal, and that's just what everybody has to think. And if you don't think that, something must be wrong with you, when in reality it's the other way around. This is probably the most heated and attack-worthy I've ever gotten. Now, I'm not attacking this person. To be honest, I don't even know who wrote this article. I don't want anybody going after this person. Obviously, I didn't go after this person. Again, there was a person that defended this person, and she basically talked about how she's like tired of gamers, that she like doesn't like writing for gamers, which is another great take when you're writing to video game people and then you say that you hate video game people. That's just the best thing to do, right? Really connect with your audience by telling them how much you hate them. That'd be like me live streaming and saying, people that watch live streams, you guys just have no lives, you guys suck, right? Like who would, like, I don't think that. Who would think that? Who would say that out loud? These lunatics that, by the way, call you a lunatic. And this is all, by the way, in a freaking Kotaku article. I'm done with Kotaku. I will talk about them when I'm making fun of them. I will talk about them, hopefully, when they close down and are no longer around anymore, which they basically are. It's kind of already at that point. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this stuff, guys? As always, make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. Like I said earlier, if you haven't followed me on Twitter yet, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Trying to reach different milestones on all these things. My Twitter, my Discord, my second channel, all that stuff is in the description below. But like I said, biggest thing, most important way, obviously, of supporting me would just be subscribing. Being a subscriber to this channel would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate all of your support. I hope to see you all on the next video.